Hey, algebraists. Today we're going to take a look at multiplying and dividing integers. So last couple of days we've been adding and subtracting integers. So we're going to move on to multiplying and dividing. So I know there's a ton of rules out there, and maybe you've been taught different rules about how to remember what happens if you got positive numbers and negative numbers, and you're multiplying and you're adding and what you're subtracting, and which one is bigger, and there's like all kinds of stuff out there, right? And so we're trying to keep things simple. So when we are multiplying and dividing integers, if there are only two numbers that are being multiplied together, those are called multiplicands. If there's two multiplicands, I think the simplest way to do this is just break it into two groups. If those two numbers have the same sign, then you're going to get a positive product. And if those two numbers have different signs, then you're going to get a negative product. Right? It doesn't matter if they're both positive or they're both negative. If it's the same, that's the same. You get a positive product. For different signs, it doesn't matter which one comes first, which one comes second, which one is bigger, whatever. None of that stuff matters. Just if one is positive and the other one is negative, you get a negative product. So I've got some examples here. We're going to sort these into our two categories. If the two multiplicands are the same, well, I'm going to put it in the positive pile, and so I know I will get a positive answer. I still need to figure out like what number that would be. What is the product? But just to sort them out, whether we get positive or negative products. So the first one, I got a -7, a +9. Those are different. -9 and -7, those are both the same. So it's going to give me a positive result. Oops, grab this one right here. So I got a positive and a positive. Those are both the same. They overlap a little bit. It's hard to tell what's what. So I'm just going to grab them off here one at a time. So -9, +11, those are different. -11, +9, that's like the same, almost the same numbers there, but one is negative, one is positive, so it's still different. This works for division also. So I've got +8 divided by -2. Those are both different signs. In algebra and any math, any level of math that is higher than algebra, we typically write division with the bar, which I know that people say like, no, that's a fraction. Fractions are division problems anyway, but that's the most common thing you're going to see. Um, so here's another one. These are both negatives, so that is the same. Let's go over here. 60 and -10. Those are different. You're going to get more space down here. Sometimes we still see things written with, there, sorry, leave it alone, with the divide symbol like this. Okay, whatever. You can write division in a lot of different ways. You can write it with a long division symbol, with this divide symbol, with the fraction line, with a slash line. They all mean the same thing. I know it's a lot of stuff to keep track of, all these different symbols. At any rate, these two numbers both have, not both, sorry, but they have different signs. So I'm going to try to find some space here and stick that into our different category. And then that is the last one. So -6, -2, those both have the same signs. All right. So we still need to go through and figure out what are the products um, or the quotients. But as far as deciding whether it's a positive or a negative result, that's the simplest way that we've got. And that will apply for any problem where you have two multiplicands or two divisors. So what if you have more than two? So if you have more than two multiplicands, um, we're just going to look at the problem. We're going to count up how many negative multiplicands there are, how many negative numbers are in that, however long the string of numbers we're multiplying is. Count up how many negative ones. If we end up with an even number of negatives, then that's going to give us a positive result. Really, that's saying the same thing that I said just a minute ago. If there's only two multiplicands, if they're both the same, it's going to give us a positive result. Well, if there's two, you count them, negative, negative, that's two things. That's an even amount, right? So this is really maybe a simpler approach, but anyway, count up the number of negative numbers. Even amounts is going to give you a positive answer. And if there's an odd number of negatives in there, that's going to give you a negative product. Okay, so I've got a stack of examples here. We'll sort these. So -9 multiplied by -7, that's 1, 2 negatives. 2 is an even number. So it's going to go into the positive result. Pull this out so we can tell what's part of this problem. So positive and negative. So I got one negative, just a -7. So that's an odd number of negatives. It's the amount of negatives that show up, not whether it's a negative, whether it's an odd number that is negative. I don't care that this is 7. That's not what I'm looking at. It's just that there is only one of these numbers that has a negative sign on it. Okay, for division, it works the same way. There's one negative number and one is an odd amount. So that's going to go here. This one, two negative signs. It's going to go into the even pile. Pull this one over here. So I got one negative here, a second negative here. That is a total of 2. That's an even amount. This one, so I got 1, negative, 2, 3 negatives. 3 is an odd number, so I'm going to put that into the negative result pile. This one, I got 1 negative, 2 negatives, 3 negatives, but this is a special case. It's got a 0, and anything that's got a 0, we're multiplying by 0, we're always going to get 0 as the answer, and 0 can't be positive or negative. So this one is not going to fit into either of those two categories. I don't have a place for it. I'm just going to leave it up here. Just, I don't know. We'll leave it up here someplace. Our stick person can stand on it. So it doesn't fit in either of the categories. That is the only special case. Anytime you're multiplying by 0, you get an answer of 0. So I don't even have to pay attention to anything else. Okay, here, last one. So I got 1 negative, 2 negatives. So this total of 2 is an even amount. So I'm going to put that into the positive result pile. Okay, so then if I were going to multiply the numbers together to end up with an actual product, I could just go. You can do this in like 1,000 different ways, right? I like to just go from left to right. That's typically by convention, that's what's recommended. We just go from left to right. So 5 times 2 is 10. And multiply it by the next number. I can only deal with so many numbers at a time in my head. So 10 times 3 is 30. I can ignore the negative because I already know my result is going to be positive. So it's just 10 times 3 is 30. 30 times 6, with 3 times 6 is there, so 180. Multiplied by 1 is still 180. So I would come up with positive 180 because I've already put it into the positive pile. I know my result is positive. Okay. Anyway, that is the approaches I'm going to recommend. I know there's a ton of other things out there you can use. That's fine. I like to keep things simple. So, all right. Good luck.